Hello, hello. People ask why not do something with tracing. And so here's a video about tracing. It's sort of a super quick intro into tracing with Recon. So in Erlang and Elixir, you can trace with the DBG module in Erlang, not to be confused with the DBG macro in Elixir. You can do tracing there, but it's sort of a foot gun. And so there is this really cool library called Recon that wraps a whole bunch of things and make things easier and a little bit safer. So we're going to take a look at that. Timeline module here. This is generated from Phoenix. There's a get post. You can imagine going to the post page, and I'll go to it in a second, and seeing a particular post. And we're going to go ahead and trace this function right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up an IEX session right here, and let's go ahead and do this. So I have Recon installed already. And Recon is a library, but it actually comes with different modules. So don't get confused about that. So we're going to use Recon Trace, this module. There's other ones, and you can look at all the documentation. There's good stuff there. And we're going to trace calls. And here we can pass a module, function, and arity. We're going to trace the scout timeline. We said get post, and it had an arity of 1, right? And then we have to pass how many times do we want to trace this? Because this is one of the nice things about Recon is it's limiting the ability for us to accidentally just trace forever, because that could actually lead to errors in our system in production. So what we want to do is say, let's trace this one time. And we're just going to go ahead and do this. And I'm going to go ahead and visit that page. And let's see what we get. And sure enough, you have this trace right here. You see we did a get post with 1. That 1 is the argument, the ID of the post. Another thing to notice here is Recon trace rate limit tripped, right? That's the one time we gave it, it did that. Okay, so let's take a couple of other options. Let's say what happens if we pass 2 here. So we want to do it twice. This is actually kind of cool, because if you know anything about live view, you'll see that this is going to trigger anyway right here, because we did 2 mounts on that live view, and it actually got the post twice, right? One is the mount on the static side. One is when the WebSocket connection gets upgraded, and we get that post. So we're rendering that page twice. Okay, cool. But what about other things? Say we don't know the arity of this thing. Well, we can pass a underscore here. And this is, notice it's an atom, because this is a match spec. This isn't actually like pattern matching. It's a match spec, and you can read all about match specs. They're more confusing. But we can do this and say, hey, any kind of arity argument for get post. Suppose your get post has multiple function heads, the different arguments. We can say, hey, grab me any 2 of these, right? So we can trace this. I'll go ahead and back, reload that page. And sure enough, we're still tracing it right here. Okay, but if you notice, we're only tracing the parameters coming in. What if we want to know what's being returned? Well, there's a really cool thing for this. We can just go ahead and say return trace. And now I'm going to do it 2 times here, but keep in mind that each trace is each invocation. So one is, say, the call, and then another one counts the return value. So this is only going to catch 1 time of that. We were seeing it twice. We're only going to catch 1 of those, if that makes sense. So I'll go ahead and save that, reload that page. And now we see, here we go. We have the get post, and now we're going to return the trace, right? So we have ID 1. You can see that, right? That this is being returned now. It's a post. It has a body of hello world when it's inserted at all that good stuff. And sure enough, the Recon trace rate limit was hit. That is the basics. There's a whole lot more. I recommend you check out the documentation. And like I said, there's Recon trace, but there's other modules. There's Recon. There's all kinds of things. So take a look at the docs. Super powerful things, and I hope you like it.